Alright, just now we already have a look at how we should review cash or cash equivalents of the client for us to top up our retirement fund. Next, we can have a look at the asset reallocation. Asset reallocation for this client, we already understand that this client will sell all of the investment asset and keep in the FD for 4%. Okay, as in the question, you can see that this asset will be sold, and once they get a cash, they will invest in the FD at 4%. In terms of asset reallocation, the financial planner should think on how they can invest in a investment or financial instruments that can give better returns. For example, let's say this is the amount of cash that we have. We allocate some fund, 100,000 in cash or FD for 1 year, then with a projected return of 3.8%. And we can also spend some of the money to invest in long-term fixed deposit with higher return, and we can also spend or invest in bond for 5% higher return than 4% of the fixed deposit that we have over here. Okay, and we can also invest in unit trust with a better return. Therefore, we can see here, if for example we invest or we allocate the money, we diversify the investment, we can see that that the projected return using this asset reallocation, the weighted return is 5.6%, which is higher than the 4% of the FD that we intentionally want to do before. Okay, so it seems that rather than we keep all of the money in the fixed deposit with a 4% return, it seems that not that profitable. But if we try to strategize the investment by investing in another diversified investment portfolio with better returns, then we can see that the weighted returns here has been increased from 4% to 5.6%. Okay, so generally by using asset reallocation method, we can invite or we can increase our return using whatever outcome that we already have in hand. Alright, as for in this asset reallocation, please allow me to explain a little bit. In this column is the percentage of weightage. It is very easy for you to do. That is 100,000 divided with 704090 times with 100, then you can get the weightage over here. Okay, so this is the projected return from the investment in fixed deposit. It is very common. It's very easy for us to find a fixed deposit that can give 3.8% return, and it's very common if it is a long-term fixed deposit, means more than 1 year, we can get like 4.5%. In a good economic situation, unit trust of 7% is acceptable. Okay, and bond, the coupon rate of 5% is actually very normal, right? So let's say we perform asset reallocation with the weighted return, new rate return, that is 5.6%. So by having a new return, okay, we try to recalculate our table, all right, with the beginning balance of 704090, and by considering that the return is 5.76, okay, by taking this into account after we do the reallocation of the return or reallocation of the asset, we can see that the money now can stretch for like more than 17 years. The one that we originally calculated is 15.06 years. Now we can stretch the money to 17.306 years. Okay, so it seems that by taking this step, you can actually expand the duration, expand the number of the number of years that the money could be long lasting. All right, how we can calculate for this 17.306? Okay, we have to understand that yes, we can draw this table, but it takes a very long time for you to calculate or to prepare this table. The easy way is by using the calculator. Okay, by taking into account that the return is now 5.76%. all right, after we do the asset reallocation, and obviously yes, once we want to use the calculator, we have to recalculate the I. Alright, so as in this case, as usual, because there is an inflation, we have to make an adjustment for the inflation. Rate of return equal to nominal rate of return minus inflation rate divide 1 plus inflation rate. Therefore, the current return is 5.76 minus 0.03, that is the inflation, 1 plus G, alright? So you will get this figure times with 100. Now the new I is 2.669902. You fill up the information in the financial calculator using CMPD. As usual, the PV is 704090. As in this table, you can see, alright, the beginning balance is 704090. That is based on the investment asset of the client, okay, at the beginning of the question that we already discussed before. Then you can set the payment of negative 50,000, alright. And after that, you go for N and solve for N. Now you can see that N is 17.31, okay? 17.306 or equal to 17.31, okay? The one that original, okay, the original figure is 15.06 years. Now you can stretch up to another 2 years by using asset reallocation, okay? You see, not just by adding money, but by manipulating, by strategizing the money that you have, by manipulating it, you can actually stretch up to, you know, like 2 years. Is huge, is significant value, okay? All right, the next step that we can do to stretch the retirement fund is by reviewing and utilizing the personal use asset. So as for this client, let's say in the case of this client actually have quite a lot of personal asset, which includes residence, antiques, golf club membership, and jewelries. So as we can see here, the client has a residence with a price of 265,000. At the same time, the client also have a real estate of 212,000. Therefore, if, for example, this client sell this residence and maintain the real estate, then, you know, they can actually expand the retirement fund because this is higher than this real estate. Okay, so that is one point. Sell the residence and maintain the real estate, for example. Another ways is by selling the antiques and jewelries, for example, especially during the hard time. Let's say after certain times towards the retirement age, it seems that the fund is not enough, then they can consider to sell the antiques and jewelries. Also, the client should also consider to sell the golf club membership, because if they sell, you know, like if they take this step, it will obviously increase the retirement fund. Alright, at this point of time, let us identify what is the lump sum need of the client actually. Okay, because so far we based our calculation using the current investment asset that the client has, that is 704090. But actually, we still didn't calculate what is the lump sum need of the client to fulfill the 20 years, where the N is 20 and the payment is negative 50,000. So let's say we put this into our calculation using CMPD. Begin I is rate of return is 4% and the inflation rate is 3%. Payment is negative 50,000 for 20 years. We can see that the PV or the lump sum need at the beginning of the retirement is 913712. Okay, so it is obvious that this figure 913712 and the current asset that the client has is 704090, which is much lower than this figure. Okay, so once we identify what is the lump sum need, that is 913715. Alright, there's a slight difference if we look at this calculation, but due to the decimal, so it's not a big issue after all. So that would be the lump sum need we already identified. Then we compare with the current investment that the client has. Okay, that is 704090. All right. And we add with the cash and equivalent that the client has, that is 46,000, the one we already shown before. So the total asset that the client has is 750090. So let's say client try to sell the resident with the value of 365,000, and despite of selling the real estate of 202,000, if the client sell the resident, all right, there will be an increment of the fund of 153,000. Okay, despite of selling the real estate, if the client sell the resident, it will increase the fund by 153,000, where we can see that there is a huge increase to the retirement fund. Now it become 903090, which is just like 10,000 more to reach the lump sum need. Okay, so by using this strategy, it seems that it really can reduce the retirement gap just up to 10,000 only. All right, beside of the strategies that we discussed just now, what are other things or other factors that we can consider, that we can also take into account, that possibly will improve the retirement fund of the client? Possibly the client can also consider to maintain the annual retirement outflow. So despite of including the inflation into the calculation, it is also possible that the client try to maintain the lifestyle with the similar amount of retirement income, that is 50,000 per year. Okay, so this might be unpleasant, but if the client will be able to cater for this situation, then it shouldn't be a problem, because if they try to cut on the expenses, on the unnecessary expenses, and try to downward the level of lavishness, try to cook at home rather than spending money eating outside, for example, eating more healthy food at home. So obviously the client can reduce this cost. Other steps that can be taken, including resizing the home, change to a smaller size house, as well as to identify other source of income. For example, let's say if the client has an investment anywhere in the shares or in a deposit, for example, or have any saving in the unit trust, etc., so that can be also considered as a part of the resources that can be included in the retirement fund. Okay. If your client is still young, possibly it is also a good alternative for your client to rent before buying the property, for example. So this is also a part of the things that can save the fund. Identify and get rid of extra fees and charges. Certain things like fees by the bank, or any charges charged by the bank. That is also one of the things that we have to look at. If the bank put a high charges or fees, then we can consider to how we can get the alternative of that investment, etc. Okay. And for example, for the older generation, warga emas, they normally have a lot of discount facilities at the hospital or etc. If like in the shopping mall, for example. So this is also a part of the facilities that can reduce the cost of the living of the warga emas. Other than that, look out for better investment opportunities. Take care, because if someone get old, they can easily trap into this fraudulent scheme cepat kaya, things like that. And also to reevaluate the life insurance need. This is also a part of the things that, in regards to the policy that possibly can give influence to the retirement fund. If there is a cash value, for example, or if it is too high or if it is too low, then the re-evaluation of life insurance need is important. Okay, evaluate long-term care insurance. You know, that like these two elements, for example, we can see that the insurance, okay, are basically much related to the health of the client. If the client love to eat outside, for example, and not active, then they can easily get sick, and after that they have to use the insurance policy that they have. But if, for example, they try to maintain a good health, once they reach the old age, they really take care of their food intake, about the quality of the food, rather than eating not healthy food outside, for example, then they can maintain a good health, and at the same time from the insurance they can get a cash value. Okay, huge cash value from the insurance if they didn't make a claim of the insurance. So that is also a part of the retirement fund, where, you know, like there is a connection of the lifestyle on how they can save more money on the insurance as well as on the medical purposes. Okay. So as a conclusion, this is the chapter where we try to find a strategy on how we can reduce, on how we can actually stretch up or improve the amount of retirement fund that we have. This is very interesting topic, and I like it very much, and it also applicable to your own life once you reach this stage. That's all for this topic. Assalamualaikum and bye-bye.